The Silverwind Larion is a pretty cool looking mount, and while time consuming, it's not really that difficult to get. Hevesius will be supplying us the means by which to get this mount today, after of course we get the materials to do so, and I'll help you with getting the materials, which is the anima crystal shards. Anyway, let's get on to the guide. The Silverwind Larion. 4 easy steps to this mount. First, you have to get the achievement Shard Labor. Then you have to speak to Forgelight Hevesius to craft the Crystal Mallet of Heralds. Then you have to visit the Vesper of the Silver Wind, and hit the bell with a hammer. Then you open the chest that's brought to you to receive the mount. Easy enough, yeah? Well, Shard Labor is going to take you a while, maybe about 45 minutes at least and 2 hours at most. The objective is to collect 50 anima crystal shards from around Bastion. The last 5 are within the Necrotic Wake and Spires of Ascension, but the rest are in the open world. It doesn't matter the order you do them in, just as long as you tag them all. I'm going to provide them in the order I got them, but feel free to do it differently. Timestamps are in the description for each shard, so make sure to reference that and to keep a mental note of where you are in the list at all times while doing so, because it will be useful. Also, since the last 5 are in dungeons, if you're not a tank and you don't get instant queues, I'd recommend queuing up for the Necrotic Wake and the Spires of Ascension while you run for the rest, just so you can try to avoid a wait. Then just jump to those timestamps if queue pops. Also make sure you bring your Goblin Glider kits, because they'll make some of these shards a lot easier to get. Anyway, that said, let's try to blaze through the locations of all these shards as quickly as possible. Coordinates are on screen and video is there for visual aid for reaching the shards. Also, at any time you can check your progress by using this script, which I've put a link to in the description down below. For the first shard, you'll want to go to the southwestmost part of the map, Vestibule of Eternity, and jump underneath the bridge here to get the shard at the end. For the next 2, you'll want to find this set of cliffs to follow it up onto the ridge above. You'll follow this path up for both the second and the third shards. Off this ridge with falls beneath it, there should be a shard on a ledge. Next, back up onto the ridge, you'll want to use something like a Goblin Glider kit or a Druid's Wild Charge to land on top of this building. Then you'll fall down to the shard. Next, to this pool, Purity's Reflection, and a shard can be found on a ledge near one of the pools. Then north to Purity's Reflection again to a shard beneath the bridge. Then we'll be headed slightly east to die, because that's what I do a lot when making videos, I guess. Then sneak over to this area with some scroll cases. Off the ledge is a weird fountain below where your shard is. Bit tricky to get to, Goblin Glider kit might help. Slightly south, we'll find more scroll cases, which we can ignore because we want the shard behind it on the falls. South more in Aspirant's Wake, we just have to get on this ridge overlooking the area. East from here, you'll find a ledge overlooking absolute oblivion below, which you can follow along to the next shard. Careful not to jump off the edge here, as while you might not fall into the void, you will however get teleported into the overworld at Y256, falling to your sure death if you don't have a golden cloud on you. Anyway, next we'll want to head up to this outdoor silver dungeon and around this pillar dangerously to finesse the shard away from the dungeon boss without needing any amulets. Look, I'm sorry, this place makes me think of the Aether, and I'd love it so much if it weren't for the disgusting cult that controls Bastion, so let me make my jokes. Then we'll head back west to this ridge and jump to this shit. Come on! I hate it here! Then to this broken building thing sticking out the ground, climb it for the shard at the end. Walking on this thing is a bit finicky. Continue far enough west until you pass an in and out, then a bit past that is this weird hole on the edge of the map, and finesse your way down to this shard with a glider or with druid jumpy bits. Northeast a bit to the Unholy Death Knight area, then jump off this ridge to this platform. Then a little bit deeper in this area is the next shard on a building piece. Next, we'll look for this ridge with a small building at the base of it. Jump down to it, and you're good to go. Easy as that. Next, find your way to this bridge, then walk over it and down this little hill and across the ridge to the falls. Then jump down to get your shard. But next, head a little east, then up this path and under this platform bridge thing for the next shard. Little north of here, back up the ridge, you can find where a rug is out by a tree. It is beside your next shard. Next, head to Hero's Rest on the west side, then follow around this wonky ledge to find this shard. Next, take the left portal thing, then hop under the platform you're on. Head a little west, then jump down these rocks to find the next shard. Then we're headed north to this three-way road to the west of it and off onto this building. Then we're headed to Sagehaven through this passing and following yet another ledge to find this next shard. Next, we're headed north. Then, in this clearing, we're headed south following this path. Then we're headed over these rocks, following that all the way to the end. Then we're headed back around where we came from and around cliffs to find this structure, where you'll find the shard on the other side of it. Next, we'll head a little east across this pool of water, then up around this ledge on the other side. Up a level, then continue, all the way around till we find the shard here. Then we'll head north to the Eternal Forge on this ridge. Head in and find the shard on this box over here. Next is southeast a little to this ledge, the Grace of the Remembered, and we'll jump down one level, then another to get to this shard. After that, we'll want to get back up on the mainland, which you can do by just jumping off into the void. Then we're up on this cliff a little north. Below this cliff is the next shard, and you can get to it any number of ways. You can use a Goblin Glider kit if that works for you, but I like to use Druid's Wild Charge any chance I get, so that's what I did here. Next, we'll want to head over to this little landing, the Seat of Eternal Hymns. Inside this opening in the structure should be a table on which you can find the next shard. Next, a little further southeast to the Temple of Humility, you'll want to make your way up onto the terrace. And there will be a shard on a bookcase up there. Then east of here to another ledge shard. Again, you'll likely need a Goblin Glider kit. Get that one and then we're headed to the next one. Next, we're headed north of here. You can actually jump in this opening to be teleported across the gap, fun fact, but we're headed to this place with all the anime gorgers, and behind it we'll be able to find the next shard on a ledge. Then we're headed all the way over to the Hall of Beasts underneath Hero's Rest, down the tunnel, then into the next room over. You might have to fight some mobs here, but in the last room will be the next shard on a box in the back. Then we're headed out of here and onto a ledge slightly to the northwest of this place. Then we're going to want to try and land on this platform below these leaves. There's your next shard. Next, we'll be headed over to this bridge and around the corner to jump down to get this shard. Next, we're headed back up onto the ledge we just jumped off of to find our way up it and jump down to this shard. Be warned, you can land on this little awning thing. I didn't think you could and failed several times getting up there before realizing and feeling stupid. I actually ended up honestly just going to the other side and hopping across like so, but whichever way you want to do it is fine. Then we'll go to the Court of Elation, in the northwest of the map. Then on the east side of this area, there's another ledge we'll be climbing up. Up this ledge, we'll eventually find the shard at the end. South of where we are now, we'll find Transfer Station Ta. We'll hop over this wall on the west side to find a shard here. Then we're headed just north to this giant pool at the bottom of which we'll find the next shard. I want to point out that the next few are in a rather dangerous area, and I wouldn't recommend approaching this yourself unless you have stealth or some way of getting away from mobs. Next, we're headed northwest for the Citadel of Loyalty. At this location will be a ledge you can climb up onto. Following that around, we'll eventually find this passing we can get on top of, which will have our shard available to us. Next by this forge will be the next shard. You may have to take care of a steward to get to it. The next one was a colossal pain in the ass to get, so I'd recommend either having a buddy or being prepared to die. You'll want to find this little pool of water with an area you can crawl under here. Go through, then when you look down you can see the next shard. The moment you try activating that bad boy, all these elites are going to aggro. So be prepared to finesse it away from them or die trying. I did it by getting up there in ghost form, then rezzing and finessing it from them immediately. The ghost form can jump from this little waterfall. Then we're just going to go around this area to find Rector Calliope. You're definitely going to need a buddy to be safe from her, or just do what I did in stealth. Either which way, you'll need to head into the outpost behind her, then on the scroll case on the left side, you'll find the shard on this section. The next two reside within the dungeon, the Necrotic Wake. Queue up for this dungeon, or go with buddies, it doesn't really matter. Make sure you get the shards from this dungeon and the next as you go through them. I went back and got them, and this caused me to get booted in the Spires of Ascension, so I had to run that one twice, just a heads up. When you are in the Necrotic Wake, your first shard will be on the second platform, near this Vesper Bell thing. Make sure to tell your party about the shard so they can get it and not have to worry about it in the future. The next one is on the third platform behind this pillar. The next three reside within the dungeon Spires of Ascension. The first shard in the Spires of Ascension will be on the platform Kintara is on, behind this lounging bed. Again, make sure to tell your party about it so they don't have to worry about it if they ever want the mount. Then you'll fight Ventinax. After that boss, there's a Kyrian to which you'll need to speak to progress into the dungeon. But make sure to get the shard first behind the pillar right beside them. For the last shard, you'll fight and defeat Orifrion. Then behind the Kyrians after its demise, you'll find the final shard and get your shard labor achievement. Okay, you have the achievement Shard Labor. Next is to craft the Crystal Mallet of Heralds. To do this, we're going to be headed back to the Seat of Eternal Hymns. We'll do this to find Forgelite Hephaesius next to his anvil smithing. Talk to him and say you've brought the shards of anima crystals. He'll do some RP, then give you the Crystal Mallet of Heralds. Once you get this mallet, we'll head over to the Shrine of the Silverwind in the northwest of the zone, where you'll find this large bell or vesper. Simply right-click it. It will ring and you'll then just wait for the Silverwind Larion to land with a chest. Open the chest to receive some resources as well as your mount, the Silverwind Larion. And there's your mount. And that does it for this guide. This guide was intended to be part of a multiple mount guide video, but I realized it'd probably be better if this one specifically was in its own video. That multi-mount video should be up tomorrow or in the next couple of days. I don't know, I'm not consistent at all. So when it's up, it should be for 6 mounts, including this one, so make sure to check it out for a few other mounts. If you enjoyed this guide or enjoy the mount you got from it, make sure you hit that like button below, and while you're down there, leave a comment letting me know how much you love or hate me. I'd ask you to subscribe as well, but I'm not sure what my future videos are going to look like soon, so I don't want to promise I'm going to release more guides if I might not. Time will tell. But if you want to follow someone who loves World of Warcraft and has for the past 15 years, then that might be a reason to subscribe. At that point, you might want to follow me on Twitter too, but I digress. For anyone who's still here who cares to listen this long, I'm working on a non-guide, actually non-Warcraft video currently about a game I love to pieces, but that one has been taking me entirely too long, so I wanted to go ahead and get this pair of videos out in the interim while I finish that one up. So be on the lookout for that. Anyway, that all said, as always, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.